Hello and welcome, this is Rooflemonger, and we have another tips and tricks guide, this time for Venom in Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. So as always, going to be going over command normals, specials, and supers. Going to be talking about how to open people up with Venom, because that's a little bit difficult, you know, he doesn't have an overhead or anything like that. And some general game plan and device. So without any further ado, let's get into it. So for command normals, this is going to be fairly short as he only has two. First up is Venom Predate, that's forward Fierce Punch, and this is this nasty looking guy. So it is beautifully animated, I love the look of this move. And its main use is in combos, and what it does is it causes a crumple state. So you see here he follows down. It's not quite a knockdown, not quite a launcher, it's a little bit in between. So say generally you'd go something like this. You go like a light into Fierce Punch, Fierce Kick, and into the Venom Predate forward Fierce Punch. And then it'll crumple. And from after that you can go right into, like, say, a launcher and follow your combo from there. What I personally do is lay a light kick Venom trap right at their feet. So it looks something like this. And we'll just get rid of that trap real quick. So as they fall into the trap, and you keep your combo going from there. So not much use on its own. Does have a pretty nasty large hitbox, but rarely are they going to stand still long enough for it to hit. So you're going to use it mostly in combos, but super important for combos, and I can rarely think of a combo where you wouldn't be using it. Now, Venom Creep is mostly just strictly for combos as well. That's forward Fierce Punch in the air here, and its main use is simply, it does slightly more damage than Fierce Punch. And on top of that, you get to travel up in the air a little bit because the move takes a little bit to play out. So the further you are up in the air, the closer you are to get to this, which we'll talk about later. Mostly just for combos. You're going to be using probably once or twice per combo as well. So both the command normals are big combo moves. Now for special moves, the first move up is Venom Fang, and this is one of the more important special moves. It has two versions, aerial and grounded. It's performed by performing quarter circle forward one of the two punches. Now on the ground, the punch dictates both the range and the damage, with the heavy punch version have a much higher arc and going much further. The aerial versions both do the same damage, and all it dictates is the arc. I see here, heavy punch goes quite a bit further. So the main use of this is twofold. The grounded version, you're going to use it for the most part as anti-push block device. So say you're doing a string, you get push blocked out, you can just say no, I'm back in, then tag out and keep the pressure going. Or the aerial version is most important in combos because you get an OTG afterwards. So if we do something, you know, very simple, we're allowed to follow up, and that could be light punch or Fierce Punch, doesn't really matter which, just like, once again, determines the angle. The damage is the same, but it's a very important part of the combo, and almost at minimum you're going to be doing at least one of these per combo, because the OTG it provides is very important and lets you extend those combos quite a bit. Now you're only going to be able to do the barring unless you have like a Venom trap or something. You're usually going to be doing one per combo, but almost every combo you have you're going to be doing it. Now the next move up here is Venom Rush. That's quarter circle forward light kick or Fierce Kick, and it looks like this. So the kick determines the range. You see here, now eats up a nice portion of the screen, but unless you're standing at one of the two fixed ranges it'll hit at, you can usually do something a lot better than that, like, you know, lay a landmine or something like that. Now our next move up is the Venom Rush. That's quarter circle forward light kick or Fierce Kick, and the kick determines the range. So this is a bit of a difficulty move to use because usually when you're doing it, you probably have something better you could be doing. But if the move hits, it does cause a soft launch here. So while we're doing that, at the very least, if you see it hit, you can always go right into super, and you'll get it every time. Or, a bit more practical in the damage, and as long as your partner's still alive, if you see connect, you can always tag into your partner and try to get something from there. Depending on the distance, you might have to dash in or something like that. It's a little wonky sometimes, but as long as you at very least dash in, you can probably almost get anything off of it. Now, next up is the Venom Throw. That's half circle backwards, light punch or Fierce Punch. Fierce Punch is more of an anti-air version, light punch is more of a grounded version. Now, I'm very conflicted about this move because there's a lot I love about it, but it's very inconsistent, and right there is a perfect example. So sometimes when you do it, you'll get close enough and you'll hit. And from that hit, you can get a combo follow-up. As you can see here, you can just kind of get whatever. And sometimes when you do it, you don't get the hit, as we saw first time. Sometimes it works and that's great, but then, you know, sometimes it doesn't, and I'm finding difficulty. I've had times where I think I got it and then I won't, and other times where, you know, like right there, I don't know why that didn't work that time. I was pretty close, but I wasn't like, you know, a millisecond closer just to get in there and get that hit. So I find the move wildly inconsistent. The best thing I could really say about it is, here, I'll turn this on just so I can show you the damage values. The move in and of itself does quite a bit of damage. So if you get the little kick follow-up, you know, it's 2,000, but without it, it's just shy of 2,000. So at the very worst, say we got Venom here and, you know, Spencer did whatever combo, and we end with a Venom trap, and the next hit, no matter what, because the damage is high, they're going to flip out. So say we do that, and at the very least, you can get that Venom throw, and that's a nice little chunk of damage if you don't want to burn a bar. And so when it works, it's great. You know, because you can combo into it up close as well. So, say something like this. And that combos. And let's see. Do we get a follow-up this time? Okay, so this time we do. But, you know, sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. And for that, I'm very iffy on recommending this move for general use, just because it's quite inconsistent, unfortunately. Now, for the very oddly named Venom Barrel, it's a jumping move only. It is quarter circle backwards, light punch, or fierce punch. Now, the only differential between the two moves is light punch is straight across, while the heavy punch version travels upwards a little bit. Now, this is generally, for most combos, it's going to be the combo ender for the most point. You're going to do it. It ends in a wall bounce, as you can see here. And from there, after that wall bounce spike, you're generally going to cancel your level 1 super, if you're willing to burn a bar for a super. Doesn't have too much use outside of it. Like, you can get kind of gimmicky, I guess, where you can go like cross over their head, tag, or something like that. But then you could just do much the same with his air dash. So I guess the only difference is, you know, if they happen to jump, this might actually catch them versus the air dash. But on its own, not much value, but absolutely critical as a combo ender. Now, the Venom Glide is one of his chief mobility options, and it has different properties, or not properties. Now, the Venom Glide is one of his chief moves to get around, and it works a little differently if you're on the ground or the air. So the move is performed simply by hitting 2 kicks. That's it, no direction, unless you want to change your direction, but on its own it'll work that way. So on the ground, with just 2 kicks, you see here we move a little bit up forward and then we fly into the air. We can also just hold up in 2 kicks and we go straight up, or up back in 2 kicks and go in that direction. Now if you're already in the air and jumping, it now changes to down forward, down, and down back. Now I actually have a companion video on this, but it's really good to get in, not only because, you know, it brings you in, you know, not only because you get combos off of it, and both those are, you know, completely fantastic and relevant reasons why you do it, but also because it basically beats, you know, any kind of, like, projectile keep out. You see here, as long as that strand touches them, whatever they're doing, doesn't matter if it's the biggest beam in the world, it doesn't matter what they're doing, as soon as that web zip touches them, they're stopping what they're doing right away. And for a lot of stuff like, you know, go old-fashioned reality stone, see here, it just destroys the projectile flat out. So for getting in stuff, if you want to, like, you know, fill the screen with hitboxes, a lot of those style of keep out things are not going to work against the web zip. The only thing I can really knock it for is if you're going in, it's always going to be that diagonal down forwards angle. So you have no real recourse to get in with that, other than if you just want to go for the more traditional air dash route, which is not as safe. Now for his supers. First off, I'm just going to mention this real quick. We have Death Bite, that's quarter circle forward both kicks. It's basically a super version of that. So it is similar to his older appearances in the original Marvel vs. Capcom, but for the most part, this move kind of sucks. So say we're doing this in the corner. We'll turn our damage values on here. If we're doing this in the corner, and say we're trying to end the combo with it, right? That's all you get. The move is over already, because it needs screen to travel. If you have screen to travel, then, you know, the move gets quite a bit more valuable. See here? But for the most part, most of your combos are going to be bringing you either right beside the corner or already directly in the corner. And for that reason, it doesn't have much value. The best I could say for it is it's an alright, you know, tag out super, so you can do it, you know, tag out, and that covers a decent portion of the screen. But other than that, it's not much value, especially compared to what we're going to talk about next, which is the Venom Web Super, which is, fantastic. So Venom, just go up in the air a little bit to do the web, and if it connects, the full combo is going to happen. As far as I've seen, no matter how high the damage is, they cannot fall out of it. And it's also air okay, which is great. So it doesn't cover the whole screen as you see there. So if we just jump up super high, it can miss. So it only really covers the part of the screen he's on. So if you're really high up there and the other guy's not on the screen, well, it's not going to connect. But if you're anywhere near the foe, they're anywhere on the screen while you're on it, it's more than likely going to work. Especially because it moves them forward a fair little bit. Now, speaking of that, that's one of his better options with it. So this move is not full invincible, but it is partially invincible. So you see here, the startup is invincible. Once the move begins and the active frames start happening, the move loses its invincibility, but the fact that the startup itself is invincible can be used for quite a bit. So I'm using Iron Man's beam here, and maybe that's a poor example because, it's fairly active quite a bit. But quick projectile, a stray hit, a stray, dash and jump or whatever like that. This will go clear through all of them. That move will whiff, and then you come out on the other side and get your hit. And if the foe is crouching, it's a little difficult to do this on purpose. But let's just here, foe crouching. If the foe is crouching and you do it right, so didn't do it right that time, we're going to try this here a few times just to show you correctly. But if the foe is crouching, and if you can see here, he's kind of resetting his position a little bit, and that's on purpose. But if the foe is crouching, you can get it to cross up sometimes. It's difficult, once again, to do it on purpose. As you see here, each time he's moving backwards and resetting. So there we go. That time, and I made a little quick cut because there's a couple fatal attempts there. But that time, it managed to go over the crouching foe and cross up, and thus the super had to be blocked the other way. Now, I'm not really sure how to do this on purpose, unfortunately, but it's there. So maybe that's something you can tinker with and find like the exact angle or something to get it to cross up a crouching foe. Because I feel that's fairly important if we can make it reliable. But for now, that's more in the gimmick realm, unfortunately. But other than that, the move is completely solid. Partial invincibility is still better than none, and you can still use it to get out of hairy situations. And now the level 3, kind of bog standard, invincible as always. Only has a decent amount of range, nothing too special. Hits from roughly about this far away. Beautiful animation. Giant symbiote shark there. But other than that, it's kind of bog standard. Nothing differentiated from any other level 3 out there. It does what it needs to do. Alright, now for the Venom Trap. This is his single most defining move and his absolute best move by quite a bit. It defines a lot of his neutral game and, useful in combos. It's useful everywhere. So, first up, it's just down, one of the 2 kicks. Light kick goes kind of right in front of him. Heavy kick goes even more in front of him unless you hold it. And at which point, if you hold it, it travels the full screen until you let go of the button. So I can make it go full screen. Or say I can make it go half screen. Close to me, you get to choose. Whenever you let go of Fierce Kick is when the thing deploys. Now I'll say this really quickly. At the moment, there's currently a glitch. I didn't make a video about it, and that'll be at the end of this video. The glitch may persist onwards in the time, I don't know, but we'll just leave it there. Check the video, and if you're watching this months from now, it might not still be in the game, but it was a cool thing if it did go while it lasted. Now, the first thing to note here, the trap is, what does the trap do? So if the trap gets walked over, it explodes, you're in where it's called a capture state, meaning basically Venom gets the free combo. Now, one of the things here is not only is it walking over it, you could try to jump over it. No, that ain't gonna work. You could try to super jump over it. Well, that ain't gonna work either now. Heck, you can even try super jump, fly, and go up there, and nope, you're getting got. So no matter what, there's really no going over it unless somehow they're both airborne at the same time so the ceiling gets raised, and at which point I don't believe it'll reach that far up. But that's really about it. So effectively, for the most part, it's a big no-fly zone. Now, Venom has no real projectile game to speak of, so unless you want to do it, tag out to your partner who maybe does have a projectile game, you can't really hide behind it with Venom. But this is one of the things I want to go into because I find, because of this trap, and because I believe it to be his best move, Venom is eminently suited to the Space Stone. So very similar to like Rocket Raccoon, you just do it, and you're going to force people in against their will and try to make them land into the trap. Space Stone is armored, so if they're shooting at you, you know, you'll armor through it just fine. They'll get pulled in. The trap happens, and then you get your combo, and all's well and good. So you definitely want to force people in there, and you know, make them panic. And the more they're panicking, and the more they want to, like, you know, just like maybe down back or something like that. Just you know, okay, well, I'll just down back and I'll block it. You know, something like this, where we can just go trap. We'll pull you in. Oh, well, I'm very close, so I don't want to get pulled in. So I'll just block it, right? So at that point, maybe you can just dash in if they're being passive. You can either, you know, try to jump at them or whatever. Maybe you can try to throw them. Venom doesn't have a command grab, and he doesn't have overhead on the ground, so that'll be the how to open people up section. But, you know, it's going to make people scared, especially because, like, Rocket Raccoon, yeah, you can have more traps out, but you can jump them. Venom, not so much. So you definitely want to play with that. And just simple things like if you're on the offense and get push blocked out, just whenever you get push blocked and you notice it, just, you know, simply, you know, cancel out to a trap and then go from there and hide behind it. It's just really good. It's honestly the absolute single most defining feature of this character. Like, he's got serviceable damage, he's got serviceable moves, but this is one of the really unique things that only Rocket Raccoon comes close to having. And Venom works on such a different level because this owns all the aerial space, and Rocket Raccoon can't really do the same thing. So now for Venom, how to open people up. So Venom has no grounded overhead, he has no command grab unless, you know, you have Mind Stone equipped. So normally, you know, the only real way he could traditionally open you up is just, you know, jump in, really. Or, you know, just hope you're not hitting block. Like, yeah, he gets in a lot with the web zip, especially because, you know, it beats a lot of moves and it'll bring you in. And if it hits, you know, full combo time. But that only precludes, you know, the enemy did something and they're not defending themselves. If they're defending themselves, lack of a command grab, lack of an overhead really complicates things. So here's my solution for it. It's not the best solution in the world, but it's more valuable than you might think, and that's with the web zip downwards. So he can do it straight down, and when you do it straight down, the move still hits, you know, either way, and you can make it very ambiguous as to which side you're landing on. So right here, I'm on the same side. Right here, I'm now switched up. And if you do it just good timing enough, see your same side, not same side. Same side, not same side. And visually, that's nearly identical timing. I even really couldn't tell which side I was going to land on, and I just kind of hoped right there, to be honest with you. And what you can do right after that is simply just go for a jab, and from jab, you know, get a combo. So we can do something like this. Okay, we got a combo that way. And if we get a cross up, same deal. So you can make it really ambiguous, and you might say, well, you know, when they're going to stand still long enough for that, and, you know, that's exactly it. So, you know, a lot of times you're going to be just air dashing or whatever, but since he has such an easy way in, especially with the zip, you know, that's going to preclude people and maybe be a little more defensive, a little less prone to rashly throwing things out. And if you get in with the zip and, you know, they got blocked, whatever, that's more of a situation where, you know, we can go right for this and give this a shot. So it's not the most elegant solution, but it's a solution, and that's honestly better than what Venom has normally. And for our final section here, just more of a general game plan. And I guess kind of piecemeal, I've already said a lot of these things together, but just to really, you know, exemplify on this. You know, if you're not in, Venom wants in, because, you know, he's got no real projectiles. Like, the bite's not very good on its own. You're not going to be keeping people out with that or even getting much of a gameplay off that. So you're going to be web zipping in for the most part. And once again, web zip basically crushes all projectiles. If you're in the middle of something, it's going to end it right away, and you get full combo from it. With minimal damage scaling if, say, you did, like, you know, just air dash into Fierce Kick or something like that. So you're always going to be wanting to go for that. You're going to want to be setting a lot of traps up and, you know, either hiding behind them and force people into them with the stone, or just setting them up, you know, maybe forget about them. They do go away on hit, as you see there, so be careful. But sometimes, you know, you might, it will promote passive play for the most part, because it's a pretty scary move, you know, like you can't get over it like, you know, a Rocket Raccoon style trap. So it's going to promote a little more passivity as long as, you know, the trap is here, you know, they're on this side, you're on this side. People are going to think twice about what they're going to do at that point, unless, you know, they can teleport or something like that. Good old Dante, he still don't care, honestly. But you want to be setting up traps, and whenever you're not setting up traps, you just want to be getting in. He's a very kind of, what's the term I want to use here? Kind of bipolar game plan, I guess. You either want to hide behind the trap and just force people in, or if your partner is suited to playing keep away, tag in your partner and have them do a little keep away while the trap covers them. And if not, you're just going to mostly, for the most part, be bulldogging your way in with the web zip, because the web zip is ridiculously good. Now, against an airborne foe, they don't want to stay still for you to web zip them. Well, then they're going to be jumping a lot, and the mine beats jumping, so there you go. If they don't want to move a lot, because you're doing mines, you want to be web zipping in or air dashing in a lot and going from there. It's pretty straightforward gameplay. Straightforward never means bad. It's not very nuanced or complex, but it works, and that's all you really need. And that concludes our video for now. So in short, Venom, very simple gameplay, but that's fine. You know, not everyone needs to be an ultra complex character to, you know, have fun with. For some people, complexity, that is their fun, and then Venom's probably not for you. But, you know, it's still enjoyable. I still like him, you know, classic character. He looks like $1,000,000 in this game. Love the look. Everything looks great. Everything looks scary. You know, lots of teeth. That's great. Anyways, thank you very much for watching this video. I hope it found you well. Go out and play some Marvel.